Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama Hare Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji. I think you are on mute. You have to unmute yourself.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji. All goes to Prabhupada Gurudev. Very, very happy to see both of you. Ideal couple, reading and practicing Bhagavatam. So, whenever you want, you can start now, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji and Matajis, we can stop our chanting for some time, because while we are chanting, we should not hear, it's an offense. So, let us now, and the whole purpose of chanting was to hear Bhagavatam, right? So, our consciousness is cleansed now. So, let's give some time now and hear Srimad Bhagavatam Katha from His Grace Praveen Prabhu and Her Grace Suma Mataji. I'm very, very happy for them presenting Bhagavatam today. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, can you make me a host, Prabhuji? I want to present song.
You can share, Prabhuji.
Share is fine. Okay.
Yeah.
Show you.
Yeah, Prabhuji, I muted everyone again. Can you unmute yourself? I humbly request everybody who is not presenting and speaking, please don't unmute your phones or system. Praveen Prabhu, you have to unmute yourself.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Matajis. Thank you very much for joining on a Saturday morning. We are very fortunate to have you on the call, and we are utterly unqualified to do any class. It's just the order of Lilananda Prabhu that we are doing this. Whatever we have learned, we are just heard and then repeating like parrots and Xerox machines. Hare Krishna. We'll start with a small bhajan by Jayadev Goswami.
Hey Govinda, Hey Gopal, Keshava Madhava Dinadayal. Hey Govinda, Hey Gopal, Keshava Madhava Dinadayal. Hey Govinda, Hey Gopal, Keshava Madhava Dinadayal. Dinadayal Prabhu, Dinadayal, Keshava Madhava Dinadayal. Dinadayal Prabhu, Dinadayal, Keshava Madhava Dinadayal. Hey Govinda, Hey Gopal, Keshava Madhava Dinadayal. Tumi param dayal, Prabhu param dayal, Keshava Madhava Dinadayal. Tumi param dayal, Prabhu param dayal, Keshava Madhava Dinadayal. Dinadayal Prabhu, Dinadayal, Keshava Madhava Dinadayal. Dinadayal Prabhu, Dinadayal, Keshava Madhava Dinadayal.
बसना परी मयूरेश शिखा धोरी मुरली वाणी तूने बोले रखना केशव माधव दीन दयाल प्रभु दीन दयाल केशव माधव दीन दयाल प्रभु दीन दयाल तुम्ही माधेरा गोपाल प्रभु माधेरा गोपाल केशव माधव दीन दयाल तुम्ही माधेरा गोपाल प्रभु माधेरा गोपाल केशव माधव दीन दयाल प्रभु दीन दयाल केशव माधव दीन दयाल प्रभु दीन दयाल केशव माधव दीन दयाल भव भय भंजना श्रीमद्सूदन विपदा भंजन तुम्ही नारायण भव भय भंजना श्रीमद्सूदन विपदा भंजन तुम्ही नारायण दीन दयाल प्रभु दीन दयाल केशव माधव दीन दयाल प्रभु दीन दयाल केशव माधव दीन दयाल हे गोविंदा हे गोपाल केशव माधव दीन दयाल हे गोविंदा हे गोपाल केशव माधव दीन दयाल प्रभु दीन दयाल केशव माधव दीन दयाल प्रभु दीन दयाल केशव माधव दीन दयाल हे गोविंदा हे गोपाल केशव माधव दीन दयाल हे गोविंदा हे गोपाल केशव माधव दीन दयाल प्रभु दीन दयाल केशव माधव दीन दयाल प्रभु दीन दयाल केशव माधव दीन दयाल हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय राधा गोपी वल्लभ राधे जय राधा गोपी वल्लभ राधे जय राधा मदन मोहन राधे जय राधा मदन मोहन राधे जय राधा माधव राधे जय राधा माधव राधे प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा श्री गुरुदेवा हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल Translation.
O pleaser of the cows, O protector of cows, O bearer of the finest hair, O husband of the goddess of fortune, you are very merciful to the fallen souls. You are supremely merciful, O Lord, supremely merciful, O Keshava, O Madhava, O Deenadayal. Wearing bright yellow garments and a peacock feather upon your crown, you play the flute and make it sing the name of Radha. You are the cowherd boy that gives great delight, O Lord, the cowherd boy that gives great delight. O Keshava, O Madhava, O Deenadayal. You take away our fear of being trapped on the wheel of repeated birth and death in the material world, and you are the splendorous killer of the demon Madhu, the destroyer of all tribulations. You are the supreme resting place for all souls. Jaidev Goswami ki
Jai. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakhaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapada Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vikhachanutascha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosite Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Ranjeva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Ashtapray Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Namah Pankajanabhaya Namah Pankajamalini Namah Pankajanetraya Namaste Pankajangre Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratishe Namaha Namo Brahmanyaya Devaya Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha Jagadhitaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna. Thank you very much, Praveen Prabhuji, for joining today. Today's topic is Kunti Maharani's prayers. This is elaborately described in Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 8. Specifically, shlokas from 24 onwards, around 20 shlokas. I am going to tell details of the story, and then 24 and onwards, and I'll pick some shlokas so we can recite together. and whatever I have learned from other, Vaishnavas, I'm going to repeat here. Please, forgive me if there are any mistakes. And I would like to request permissions of all Vaishnavas, senior devotees in the congregation to give you permission to continue. Hare Krishna. Thank you. So we are all in a very unique situation right now, which is lockdown, right? And that means like, there's no way to go. And it's been the second lockdown we have, and the first one is last year's. And this time it's second lockdown. And I heard from one of the senior Vaishnavas that when there is lockdown, that means we can't go outside. So what do we need to do? We have to go inside, right? That is the time to go inside and then realize ourselves. So the best thing what to do during lockdown is utilize the time to go inside, continue your journey, your spiritual journey, understand more, contemplate more, learn more, read more, listen more. And I've been seeing that many senior Vaishnavas in ISKCON have been giving so many classes. They've been more busy, and the preaching has doubled, tripled, which is what I heard, which is very good. And a lot of people are really, going inside. So that's the best thing to do when you can't go outside. So don't worry about it, right? And this is the topic that is chosen today is the perfect scene to discuss. The perfect scene to discuss the current situation, right? We have so much problems, the pandemic, the calamities we are seeing. We have to see there's a lot of connection between what we are seeing outside with what we're going to discuss here. And what Kunti Maharani teaches us through these verses is, however difficult times we have, we always need to remember Krishna and take his shelter, right? And you should really understand that what Kunti Maharani went through, those problems are nothing compared to what we are really seeing, right? We can listen to the stories. Yeah, our problems are nothing when compared to what Kunti Maharani has gone through, right? Just to give a little bit background introduction about Kunti Maharani. Kunti Devi is the daughter of Yadu King Surasena. She's the daughter of Surasena, and she's very opulent. Comes from a king's family, very opulent family, and she's been given as a to his cousin. His name is Kunti Bhoja. So Surasena gives away Kunti Maharani to Kunti Bhoja so that she so that she grows up with Kunti Bhoja, and that's why she's called Kunti. It's like Dattata, right? Dattata, they give Datta, right? What is it called? Adoption. So Kunti Bhoja adopts, Kunti as her daughter, as his daughter, and that's why her name Kunti comes there. And one of the most, one of the things that Kunti Bhoja does very well is welcoming guests and taking care of them in his kingdom. And he appoints Kunti to take care of the guests that come to the kingdom, like sages, rishis, munis, and all these people. And once Durvasa Mahamuni comes, and everybody is afraid to serve him because he's very, angry, he's very short-tempered, and he is really very difficult to serve. But Kunti Maharani, with a lot of patience, he serves him, and he gives a boon. What the boon is that she can pray to any demigod and beget a son, powerful sons, and he goes away, and she keeps that boon with her. And later on, she gets married to Pandu Maharaj, and one of the princes of Kuru dynasty. The Dhritarashtra and then Pandu Maharaj are brothers, and she comes to the kingdom of Kuru dynasty. So, and then the story goes like this, right? Pandu Maharaj gets cursed because of a offense he does, killing a Brahmin boy with two, parents, and then he curses back, saying that you will die. No, that's not the curse. Sorry, there is an offense he does, and because of that, he's cursed that he cannot get any children by uniting with his wife. So they all go to forest. He has two wives, Kunti and Madri. And and he asks Kunti Devi, to use that boon to beget sons. So with that, she begets, Dharmaraj, and then Bhima, and then Arjuna. And then one story before that is she is very curious to try the boon when Durvasa Mahamuni gives it before her marriage. When she's not married, she wants to try it out of curiosity, and she tries and begets Karna. And she gets afraid because she's not married and having a child with her. And what she does is she, puts the kid in a box and puts in the river. And then Karna is, taken care by Radha, who is the Sarathi in the same dynasty. And that's a different story. But, from the time, she comes to Kuru dynasty, Pandu Maharaj not having sons and begetting sons through the demigods, right? And then after that, Pandu dies. And along with Pandu, Madri also goes Sahagamana. And she's all alone with 4 children. And then Madri gets Nakula and Sahadeva. So all with 5 children, being a widow. And then, in a very helpless situation, she comes back to Kuru dynasty. And of course, there are people to take care of her very well. Like there is Bhishma Dev, Drona, and everybody is there to take care. But, it's all with enmity, right? Not with Bhishma, but at least Dhritarashtra was not, he is okay. He's not very favorable or not unfavorable. But once he gets, his son, Duryodhana, and he doesn't really, control him, and the enmity starts more and more. And from that time, all, problems, all the problems start with, for Kunti Devi. So a lot of problems, right? From the time they are in the courtyard, when the kids are growing, once Duryodhana poisons Bhima, giving paisam and then with poison in it, and he throws him in the lake. And then he goes all the bottom of the lake and almost in the dying situation, but he's saved by the Vasuki because he goes to almost Sarpaloka, and then he gets he gets saved by him. And then once later on, Lakshagruha, they put fire to Lakshagruha and they had to escape from a different route, and then they were asked to go to exile for 13 years in forest with no support. There's so many calamities, so many difficulties she goes through, and we'll read through the shlokas as we go. But all her life, lot of problems she has gone through. And even with all the problems, all the time, she took the shelter of Lord Krishna, right? But where did she come from? She's a very more intelligent, saintly woman, and she faced so many problems, calamities all throughout the life, but always took the shelter of Krishna, right? It is like, there is a story that once some villagers threw a donkey into a step well, into a dry well, and, on the top of that, they threw a lot of bricks at it. But the donkey, escaped all the bricks. And what did it do? It used all the steps, all the bricks to make as a steps and came out. Now, just like that, Kunti Maharani, even though she was facing so much problems, she used them as stepping stones. The story tells us that, even with the calamities, with the problems that we encounter throughout our life, how to make them as stepping stones and come out, right? There are two ways to look at calamities and problems, right? One of the things I heard is, one is you can think about it as like a hammock, right? And then you sit back and complain, that I got this problem, I got that problem, I couldn't do this, I couldn't do that, and get people's attention and then sympathy. That is one way to look at the problems. The second way to look at the problems is use that as a spring or like a stepping stone, where the moment you step on it, you completely come out of this nicely, right? So you need to utilize the calamities and problems like a springs or stepping stones, right? And then come out of them, right? And then who is telling the story? This Kunti Maharani prayer story is being told by Sukadeva Goswami to Parikshit Maharaj. And who is Parikshit Maharaj? Parikshit Maharaj is the great grandson of Kunti Devi, right? And look at him, look at Parikshit Maharaj, such a nice king in a good state, in a stable state. He is really doing well in his kingdom, doing a lot of good things. Suddenly things change, right? He goes to a forest, he sees Shamika Muni, and something happens. He puts a snake on his neck, and the small young boy, Brahman boy Shungi, comes and curses him. The whole story goes ulta palta, right? He's completely into trouble. And what did Parikshit Maharaj do? Did he really jump up and down and like make a lot of noise? No, right? What he did is he took that as an opportunity, and the last 7 days of his life, he really wanted to get the self-realization. And Sukadeva Goswami comes there and gives the whole story of Bhagavatam, and that's why we heard it. So Kunti Maharani is the great grandmother of Parikshit Maharaj. So even Parikshit saw calamities, right? And you all know, right, what is the meaning of Parikshit? Paritaha ekshanaha. So Parikshit Maharaj, even when he is being born, he was into a big trouble, right? Ashwadhama at the last moment to kill the last hair of Pandavas, he just throws a Brahmastra, and Uttara comes running. Uttara comes running to Krishna, please help me. My stomach is burning. So Krishna goes and protects him with Sudarshan Chakra. And at that time, Parikshit Maharaj sees, who is this personality that is protecting me? And then even after coming out, he was still looking for that personality. And that's why he's called Parikshit. Paritaha ekshanaha, always looking for the person who protected him, right? And Parikshit Maharaj, at that time when he is cursed by Shrungi, he could counter curse. He has that capability, but he didn't, right? Typically, normal people, when they are really abused by somebody else, they kind of take revenge or react. But Parikshit Maharaj took it as, he didn't react for that. He thought that is the, providence. That is what is supposed to happen to him, and he took it as an advantage, right? Right. So that's what. And Parikshit Maharaj hears Srimad Bhagavatam from Sukadeva Maharshi, and we are all hearing it now. And Kunti Maharani always found shelter with Krishna. Always she is with Krishna. So the story of Kunti's place starts when the Kurukshetra war ends, right? You know that Krishna was on the side of Pandavas, and there was Akshonis, more Akshonis on Kaurava's side, but at the end, Pandavas win. And only people that are remaining are 5 Pandavas, Kunti, and a few other people in Pandavas. And complete Kaurava side is gone, completely gone. And that being done and settled, Krishna starts going back to Dwaraka, and he's saying goodbye to everybody, like all the Pandavas, Dharmaraj, Karna, Bhima, Dharmaraj, Arjuna, Bhima, Nakula, Sahadeva, Kunti. Everybody says goodbye and going to Dwaraka. And the story of Kunti Maharani Prabhu starts there. And that's the time when Uttara comes, and then she says something is happening, and then he protects, and after that he starts going again. And then Kunti Maharani comes, and then she started praying to him. And that's the part of this story, right? And she starts praying to Krishna, that saying that, you have been there throughout all the calamities, all the problems we have, and now, you are going, right? Where should I take shelter from, right? I want you to be back. Like her whole thing is, she wants Krishna to stay back with them. Okay. So when everything is going great, typically, right, when for us in our lives, when everything is going great, if you think about chanting when everything is going great, and the chanting when we are in trouble, there's a lot of difference, right? Like especially I can see the difference. Like, it's like a matter of the fact for us, right? For me, you take the chanting bag, all you have to, do is just finish the 16 rounds. Like Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. But like, because everything is going well, like, you have, even if it is lockdown, I have my, family at home, safe and healthy. My salary I'm getting, I'm getting my vegetables, groceries, no trouble, right? And everything is going well. So at that time, the way you call out for Krishna, the way you look at Krishna is normal. Like, fine, I will finish it as a matter of fact. But if you compare that with chanting when you are in trouble, like say normal, any trouble, something happens that you want to really, take the shelter of Krishna, you will see the difference of calling out to Krishna. But what we really need to do is, the chanting quality should be very, very intense, even at the time of calamities or problems, or even normal. Like I was hearing the question and answers yesterday, Lilananda audio. Prabhu asked a question, how to do chanting with that kind of intensity and devotional devotion. And Maharaj explains it so deeply. It's a very, very, very deep contemplation of how to do chanting, and what to do. I recommend everybody to hear that clip. and should keep it somewhere. It should be kept somewhere so that we keep hearing it, keep reminding ourselves on how to really chant with that intensity, no matter what, no matter whether we are in a good condition, whether we're in trouble or that, right? Because this is the time to call out to Krishna, right? Krishna, we have to take shelter of Krishna at all the times. After all, at the end, what is Krishna consciousness? Always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. Completely, surrender to Krishna. That is simple. That is so simple that Srila Prabhupada gave us this simple technique of Krishna consciousness. All we have to do is always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. Like from the time we get up until we really sleep, right? Everything we do, keep Krishna in the center. Like, for example, this is such a beautiful program Srila Prabhupada gave all of us, right? The temple program which we emulated today, like getting up in the morning, doing the arati, then doing your chanting, then nice Bhagavatam class. After that, making prasadam for Krishna, we are honoring it. And after that, if we have some time left, hear some lectures, read some Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita, anything that you like, spend time with your family. In the evening again, there are a lot of classes going on. I'm overwhelmed with the number of classes that are being offered online during the pandemic, right? There are so many of them. It's just that you have to make time. In weekdays, it's difficult because we have to go to office and everything. But in weekends, you utilize as much time as possible in that. So this is Krishna consciousness. Nothing but Krishna consciousness, right? You are spending time putting Krishna in the center for everything, right? You are then after that you're cooking for bhoga for Krishna, and then you're offering afternoon for lunch, and then you're again honoring prasadam. Everything it is remembering Krishna. You are doing everything for Krishna, right? So irrespective of whether you are in a trouble, whether you are in a calamity, or whether your things are going well, by Lord Krishna's grace, always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna, right? The typical mentality for us is when we are in trouble, when we have problems, we always, right, try to find faults with others, or like trying to point out fingers, who did this? This is what happened to me. That's what happened to me because of that person, right? There is no compassion, there is no tolerance, but we need to slowly, understand everything is, in Krishna's control. Everything what he's doing is, the part of the package, and it's part of the plan, and that comes as we understand more on Krishna consciousness, right? And then one really important thing and amazing thing I heard about devotees. There are 4 kinds of devotees, right? One kind of devotee is like Kunti Maharani, who looks behind and remembers Krishna. Like, what did Kunti Maharani did? Kunti Maharani always, like right now in the Kunti prayers, what she's thinking is about Krishna, and she is really thinking about all the calamities she went through and thanking Krishna, right? She tells in all the slokas from the time, he was there, Lord Krishna was there with them, right? As I told, from the time Bhima was poisoned, then Lakshagriha, then, cheating them in the Sabha, and then dragging Draupadi, in Ekavastra, all the situations, she's looking back and thanking Krishna. Like, that is the kind of devotee we should be. We should always, like when we get up in the morning, we should look back yesterday, day before yesterday, for all the things that Krishna gave us and thank him. Be grateful for what we have. Be really grateful for what we have, right? The second kind of devotee is like Dhruva Maharaj. What Dhruva Maharaj did? Dhruva Maharaj looked inside and then thanked Krishna, right? When he is a very young boy and Narada Maharshi gave him that knowledge that he should, pray to Krishna and go to, forest and meditate on Paramatma inside. He did that. So he looked for Krishna inside. He searched for Krishna inside, right? And then Krishna, Lord Krishna appeared, and then he gave all the knowledge, and then he went with a different purpose of getting a kingdom. But by the time, he get the darshan of Krishna, he said, I don't want any of these things. I just want your darshan, right? We should be always looking inside and really thanking Krishna. And then the third kind of devotee that we should be is we should always look forward for Krishna, like Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj is just a 5-year-old boy, and he's always looking forward for Krishna to protect him. He's never worried that anything will happen to him, right? Look at his miseries, right? His calamities. Like, for example, if we are in trouble, like generally if we are in trouble, what do? We take solace at home. Like, say if we go outside, we are in a troubled situation, we had a fight with somebody, we think that let's go home and then take some peace. right? At home, like there is, your family who can you talk to, and then like, kind of get settled. But look at Prahlad Maharaj's situation. He cannot even do that, because at his home, and the person who he loves most, who trusts most, is doing all the bad things to him, which is his father, right? He is thinking, what is his father's main job? It is not even a side job. The number one job of Hiranyakashipu is how to kill Prahlad. And Prahlad Maharaj has to stay at the same house, anticipating what will happen next. With all that, with all the trouble, with all that, like that kind of mindset, how can you really be in that mindset and still stay in the same home, where home is the place where you take like peace and solace, and then the person who you trust most is your father, who is really thinking of killing you every moment. What did he do? He was always thinking about Krishna ahead, and he's always looking forward for Krishna to protect him. He never had a doubt. And you can see that, like at 5-year-old, he was teaching his fellow students in the class, saying that you are wasting time. Start saying Narayana, Narayana, right? Prahlad trusted. And then what kind of calamities he went through? His father threw him from cliffs. Krishna was there to catch him. His father put him under mad elephants, like stampede by mad elephants. Krishna was there to protect him. Hiranyakashipu threw him in a hungry, in a pit of hungry snakes. Krishna protected him. He threw him in fire. What else he did, right? And then he made him drink poison. Right? With all the troubles, Krishna is there to protect him. Prahlad Maharaj is always looking forward for Krishna. So look forward. So that the lesson from here is our devotee has to look forward. Tomorrow, day after tomorrow, that Krishna will be there to protect me no matter what. Krishna will be there for me to protect me, right? So that's what we should learn from Prahlad Maharaj. The fourth kind of devotee that we need to really be and kind of try to understand is like Srila Prabhupada. What is Srila Prabhupada doing? Srila Prabhupada looked around for opportunities to serve Krishna. Srila Prabhupada, what did he do? Wherever he went, just looked around, whatever is the situation. He went to US, he went to the parks, he just sat there and then chanted. Nobody knows who he is, where he came from, and nobody knows who is Krishna. With all that, 100% faith in Krishna, he looked around to spread Krishna consciousness. He always wanted to give Krishna to others, right? Similarly, we should look around ourselves, find opportunities to spread Krishna consciousness or to see Krishna around us, right? These 4 points about how to be a devotee, like Kunti Maharani, who always looks behind and thanks Krishna, a devotee like Dhruva Maharaj, who looks inside always and thanks Krishna, and a devotee like Prahlad Maharaj, who looks forward and thanks Krishna in advance, for whatever he's going to give him tomorrow, day after tomorrow, and a devotee like Prabhupada, right? And looking around all of us and thinking about Krishna. We should all write down these things on a piece of paper, attach it on a wall, and every day look at it. And that's what we should be doing. This really moved me. I heard this from His Grace Amarendra Prabhu's lecture, and this is like it's an awesome thing that he contemplated on this. So this is really, really good. Remember Krishna every day by remembering all 4 points, right? So am I grateful to Krishna for yesterday? Am I grateful to Krishna for today? Am I grateful for Krishna tomorrow? And today when I'm looking around, am I grateful? And am I finding opportunities to serve Krishna in whatever way I can? There are so many opportunities, as Lilananda Prabhu says, right? There are so many opportunities to serve Krishna. Just find an opportunity to serve Krishna, and that is also your Krishna consciousness, right? So Kunti Maharani is offering her prayers when the battle is over, and we're going to read the shloka now. Please go to 1.8.24. I'm going to share my screen. We'll read the shloka and the purport, which will be very nice to kind of read now. Please, I'll recite it once, and then we'll go one by one. Vishan Mahagne Purushada Darshanad Asat Sabhaya Vanavasa Krichata Mridhe Neka Maharatha Astro Drauni Astras Chashma Hare Bhirakshita Abhirakshita. Okay, please repeat after me. Vishan
Vishan,
Mahagne Sada Darshanat Asat Sabhaya
Asat,
Vasa Kricharata
Krich,
Mrudhe Neka Aneka Astraha
Astra,
Astras
Astras,
Asma from fire by combating
Praveen, too much of disturbance. Too much of disturbance.
Too much disturbance, lot of disturbance.
Okay, let's read the meanings of each word. Visat, from poison. Maha Agne, from the great fire. Purusha Ada, the man-eaters. Darshanad, by combating. Asat, vicious. Sabhaya, assembly. Vanavasa, exiled to the forest. Krichrata, sufferings. Mridhe, again and again. In the battle. Aneka, many. Maharatha, great generals. Ashratha, weapons. Astraha, weapons. Drauni, the son of Dronacharya. Astraha, from the weapon. Cha, and. Asma, indicating past tense. Hare, oh my lord. Abhirakshita, protected completely. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. My dear Krishna, your lordship has protected us from a poisoned cake, from a great fire, from cannibals, from the vicious assembly, from sufferings during our exile in the forest, and from the battle where great generals fought. And now you have saved us from the weapon of Ashwadhama. So Kunti Maharani here is, as I said, right, she's talking about all the places, all the areas where Krishna protected all the Pandavas from great calamities, right? The list of dangerous encounters is submitted herein. Devaki was once put into difficulty by her envious brother, otherwise she was well. But Kunti Devi and her sons were put into difficulty after another, one difficulty after another for years and years together. They were put into trouble by Duryodhana and his party due to the kingdom. And each and every time, the sons of Kunti were saved by the Lord. Once Bhima was administered poison in a cake. Once they were put in the house made of shellac and set afire. And once Draupadi was dragged out and attempts were made to insult her by stripping her naked in the vicious assembly of Kurus. The Lord saved Draupadi by supplying an immeasurable length of cloth, and Duryodhana's party failed to see her naked. Similarly, when they were exiled in the forest, Bhima had to fight with the man-eater demon Hidimba Rakshasa, but the Lord saved him. So it was not finished there. After all these tribulations, there was great battle of Kurukshetra, and Arjuna had to meet such great generals as Drona, Bhishma, and Karna, all powerful fighters. And at last, even when everything was done away with, there was Brahmastra released by the son of Dronacharya, Ashwadhama, to kill the child within the womb of Uttara. And so the Lord saved the only surviving descendant of the Kurus, Maharaj Parikshit. So as Prabhupada's purport says, there is a huge laundry list of calamities and troubles that Pandavas has gone through. And each and every step, Krishna was there. And, he protected them like by being with them all the time. Like he's like a being with them, meaning like he's a friend of them. He was doing everything with them. Like he was kind of eating with them, spending time with them, but still like he's a supreme person of Godhead. and then protected all of them, right? And even in the, in the battle, you can see that, there are huge warriors on the Kuru side. Like for example, if you take Bhishma, he's 25,000 times more powerful than Arjuna. And it doesn't even, Arjuna doesn't even equate to him. Only because of the Lord Krishna's mercy, Arjuna could, the Pandavas could win the war. And it was very evident that he protected Arjuna from many calamities, even during the war, right? The Nagastra that is sent, and then the Brahmastra, the second two Brahmastras sent by, Dronasana and Ashwadhama. Both of the times, Krishna saved all of them, right? This is the list of things, right? That really he came, and then Draupadi. How can we forget the incident of Draupadi who was dragged into the Sabha like Ekavastra? And how did Krishna protect her? By becoming a Vastravatara. That's what is described in one of the one of the purports I heard. It's called Vastravatara. He came in the form of the sari, which is unlimited, and protected her, right? In all kinds of places he was there, to really. And then how can we forget the incident where Durvasa Mahamuni is sent by Duryodhana to Pandavas when they're in the forest, with hungry disciples, 60,000 disciples. And what did Krishna do? He got the Akshay Patra and found one grain and he ate it, and everybody is full. The complete Durvasa Muni and the 60,000 disciples are completely full, and they ran away. So there are so many places he really, saved them. Okay, let's do another sloka, 1.16.16. This is not Kunti prayers, but this is one of the slokas that we should read. And let me show you that sloka, and we'll read that sloka. 1.16.16. Please repeat after me. Saradhya, Parashada, Sevana, Sakhya, Dautya, Virashana, Anugamana, Thavana, Pranamam, Snigdheshu, Pandushu, Jagat Pranatim, Cha Vishnor, Karoti, Nrupati, Charanaravinde. Saradhya, acceptance of the post of a chariot driver. So this shloka explains what are all the positions that Krishna was with them, with Pandavas, and what are all the kind of positions he took with them. Saradhya, acceptance of the post of a chariot driver. He was the chariot driver of Arjuna. See, you can imagine, like a driver, of a car driver is the most, he's one of the, servants in your family, right? What all the things he did for Pandavas. Saradhya, acceptance of the post of a chariot driver. Parashada, acceptance of the Parashada, acceptance of the presidency in the assembly of the Rajasuya sacrifice. Of course, he was being, he was given the topmost position in the Rajasuya sacrifice. Sevana, engaging the mind constantly in the service of the Lord. Sakhya, to think of the Lord as a friend, right? People, in the Rajasuya Yaga, all the Pandavas did service to, him. Sakhya, Arjuna thought he is a Sakhya, think of the Lord as a friend. Dautya, they used him as a Duta, right? They sent him to Kauravas to, do a peace deal with Kauravas. He became a Duta also, acceptance as the post of a messenger. Veera Ashana, acceptance of Veera Ashana, acceptance of the post of a watchman with a drawn sword at night. Sometimes he was also a watchman. He was watching, when Pandavas are sleeping in the forest, in the exile, who protected them? Krishna, being a watchman, he was looking after them all the time. You can see what kind of positions he took to really help them. Anugamana, following the footsteps. Stavana, offering the prayers, right? He offered prayers and obeisances to Yudhishthira, because Yudhishthira is a king, for ordinary human beings in the kingdom, when he came to the kingdom of the Yudhishthira, he prayed obeisances to King Yudhishthira. right? Pranamam, offering obeisances. Snigdeshu, unto them who are malleable to the will of the Lord. Pandushu, unto the Pandav sons, right? He did all this to son of Pandus. Jagat, the universal. Pranamam, one who is obeyed. Cha, and Vishnu, Bhaktim, devotion. Karoti, does. Nrupati, the king. Charanar Vinde, unto his lotus feet. So in this sloka, what is being told is, the one who took so many positions to help Pandavas, unto his lotus feet, I am taking my shelter. Let's see the translation. Maharaja Parikshit heard that out of his causeless mercy, Lord Krishna Vishnu, who is universally obeyed, rendered of all kinds of services to the malleable sons of Pandu by accepting the posts ranging from chariot driver to the president to the messenger, friend, night watchman, etc., according to the will of the Pandavas, obeyed them like servant and offering obeisances like one younger in years. When he heard this, Maharaj Parikshit became overwhelmed with devotion to the lotus feet of Lord. So Maharshi told that, this is the position of Krishna. Krishna took so many positions to help Pandavas, your great grandfathers, in all these kind of positions, like from a chariot driver to a night watchman. What are all the things he did? And with that, Maharaj Parikshit became very grave and overwhelmed. And he remembered the lotus feet of Krishna and with devotion. So that such Krishna is what we are talking about, is what, the additional addendum to the previous sloka is, right? Purport. You want to read the purport?
Lord Krishna is everything to the unalloyed devotees like the Pandavas. The Lord was for them the Supreme Lord, the spiritual master, the worshipable deity, the guide, the chariot driver, the friend, the servant, the messenger, and everything they could conceive of. And thus, the Lord also reciprocated the feelings of the Pandavas. Maharaja Parikshit, as a pure devotee of the Lord, could appreciate the Lord's transcendental reciprocation of the feelings of his devotees. And thus, he himself also was overwhelmed with the dealings of the Lord. Simply by appreciating the dealings of the Lord with his pure devotees, one can attain salvation. The Lord's dealings with his devotees appear to be ordinary human beings, but one who knows them in truth becomes at once eligible to go back home, back to Godhead. The Pandavas were so malleable to the will of the Lord that they could sacrifice any amount of energy for the service of the Lord. And by such unalloyed determination, they could secure the Lord's mercy in any shape they desire.
So, for people, ordinary people in in the scene of Kunti Maharani's prayers, which is when Lord is going away, Kunti Maharani says, people are thinking like you are an ordinary person, and I know that you are a supreme personality of the Godhead, and I'm paying obeisances unto you, even though I'm elder to you, right? Krishna, when leaving to Dwaraka, he because she's elder to him and as an aunt, right? Krishna's father Vasudeva's, she's the sister of Vasudeva. So she's Krishna's aunt. So when you go, when you leave some place, you typically take the blessings of the elderlies, and then Krishna takes the blessings of Queen Kunti. But Kunti comes and pays obeisances to him, and she says, for everybody else who is looking on here, you are an ordinary person. They think you are an ordinary person, but you are not ordinary. I know that you are the supreme personality of Godhead, and you are the one who protected all of us during all these calamities, right? Similarly, there are so many misconceptions about Krishna that he's like us, he's a human being like us, and then he did all these things like a human being, but he's not. He's the supreme personality of Godhead, who really came onto this earth in the form of Lord Krishna to really help all of us. And you should always think of this example, right? For a child to cross the road, right? It's a very difficult task, especially for a young child. So many vehicles are coming here and there. It's a very difficult and overwhelming. But if there is a mother and father with the child, who can hold his hand and cross the road, the child, or if the father and mother takes the child on his shoulder, There's nothing to worry, right? All you have to do is just nicely sleep on the shoulder of mother or father. No need to worry about anything. The father or mother will take care of you while crossing the road, right? If you think of the calamity, similarly, Radheshyam Prabhu, his grace, Radheshyam Prabhu gives an example of a mother who takes his child on the shoulder, and like trying to buy a ticket in a big queue, then finding which platform, going up and down, checking, in the group, finding which platform to go, which train to get in, right? We should all be like the child, just resting on the shoulders of Krishna. And if we really take the shelter of Krishna, the rest of the things will be taken care of by Krishna. We don't need to worry about it. Just like the child doesn't need to know which train she has to go, which platform, whether to buy ticket or not. Nothing like that. Everything will be taken care of by Krishna. So, and then one thing that to remember is, that question that is asked by many people is, okay, fine, all these things are fine. Then why Krishna gives me these troubles? Like why Krishna puts me in trouble, and why Krishna gives me, these calamities, right? The reason for that is very simple. There is a very nice story behind it. There was one situation in Vraj, on that day, everybody is celebrating in Vraj. And what is the celebration? That day, Lord Krishna, the small boy Krishna, has turned. If you remember, when a small child in a house turns back, turns on his belly, right? Usually they sleep on the back, and then one day they suddenly turn. That's a huge festival for us, because that's a time when the kids start crawling and everything. And of course, in Vraj, every small thing that small Krishna did is a festival. So that day, Vraj, the whole Vraj is celebrating with loud music, trumpets, and a lot of guests are coming to Yashoda's house, and she is feeding Krishna, and she saw a lot of guests are coming, and she to invite them, she kept the small boy Krishna down under a small cart, so that he's protected, and she goes to receive them. Krishna was very angry, how can she leave me in the middle and go? She starts crying like Amma, mom, but in that big loud music and noise, nobody could listen to him. And what he does, with his small leg, he kicks the cart, and he kicks such a force, the whole cart falls down, the whole vessels falls down, so that the noise is bigger than the noise that is happening outside. Similarly, and then immediately everybody comes and hugs Krishna, takes Krishna from there. Similarly, Lord is sitting in our heart, and what I did, and Suma did is complacently we put him under a cart, and not noticing him. So to make us notice him, Krishna gives a little slap, little kick, right? That says, come, I'm waiting for you. Look at me, focus on your chanting. Come, talk to me, kind of thing. Again, similar example, a big construction site is there. A lot of workers are working on the ground floor, and the manager is in the top floor, and he wants to talk to one of the guys that are working. And he tries to shout at him, but because of the machines working, he could not. What does he do? He takes a small pebble, throws a small pebble at him. And the small pebble comes and hits maybe his helmet or his shoulder. Nothing happens to him, but it just gives attention. Then he looks up. Sir, what is it? And then he talks. Similarly, these calamities and troubles are these small pebbles that Krishna is throwing at us, right? To get our attention to him, right? So, and then Krishna is a very jealous lover. Krishna wants only him in our hearts. You cannot say, okay, Krishna, I will have you, I'll have my family, my parents, my friends, my money, my home, my loan, everything. No. Krishna says, either all of these or me. Choose one, right? He wants unconditional love, just like a jealous lover. He wants unconditional love and always wanted to choose him, right? So in this shloka, in this chapter, Kunti Maharani is asking, you are there with us when there are so many calamities, and the calamities are over and you are leaving. And this shloka we're going to read is the most mentioned shloka, and people also skip this shloka because they're like a bit scared about this shloka, right? This shloka, Kunti Maharani says, let the calamities come back to me because I want you to be back here. Okay, so let's read that shloka. It's 1.8.25. If you have it, just open it. We'll read that shloka. 1.8.25. Please repeat after me. Vipada santutta shashvat.
Vipada santutta shashvat.
Tatra jagadguru.
Tatra jagadguru.
Bhavato darshanam yat syad.
So darshanam yatta
Apunar bhava darshanam.
punar avadarshanam
Synonyms. Padva, calamities. Santu, let there be. Tah, all. Shashvat, again and again. Tatra, there. Tatra, and there. Jagat Guru, O Lord of the universe. Bhavataha, your. Darshanam, meeting. Yat, which, that which. Shat, is. Apunaha, not again. Bhavadarshanam, seeing repetition of birth and death. Translation. I wish that all those calamities would happen again and again, so that we could see you again and again. For seeing you means that we will no longer see repeated births and death. Purport. Lota?
Generally, the distressed, the needy, the intelligent, and the inquisitive who have performed some pious activities worship or begin to worship the Lord. Others who are thriving on misdeeds only, regardless of status, cannot approach the Supreme due to being misled by the illusory energy. Therefore, for a pious person, if there is some calamity, there is no other alternative than to take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. Constantly remembering the lotus feet of the Lord means preparing for liberation from birth and death. Therefore, even though there are so-called calamities, they are welcome because they give us an opportunity to remember the Lord, which means liberation. One who has taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, which are accepted as the most suitable boat for crossing the ocean of nescience, can achieve liberation as easily as one leaps over the holes made by the hoofs of a calf. Such persons are meant to reside in the abode of the Lord, and they have nothing to do with the place where there is danger in every step. This material world is certified by the Lord in the Bhagavad Gita as a dangerous place full of calamities. Less intelligent persons prepare plans to adjust to those calamities without knowing that the nature of this place is itself full of the calamities. They have no information of the abode of the Lord, which is full of bliss and without trace of calamity. The duty of the sane person, therefore, is to be undisturbed by worldly calamities, which are sure to happen in all circumstances. Suffering all sorts of unavoidable misfortunes, one should make progress in spiritual realization because that is the mission of human life. The spirit soul is transcendental to all material calamities. Therefore, the so-called calamities are called false. A man may see a tiger swallowing him in a dream, and he may cry for his calamity, this calamity. Actually, there is no tiger and there is no suffering. It is simply a case of dreams. In the same way, all calamities of life are said to be dreams. If someone is lucky enough to get in contact with the Lord by devotional service, it is all gain. Contact with the Lord by any one of the 9 devotional services is always a forward step on the path going back to Godhead.
Very well. So, one of the important points that we made in this purport is Padam Padam Yat Vipadam. There is a danger in every step in this material world, right? You know, there is no end to this, right? You can't say, okay, now the pandemic is over, something else will come, maybe some other problem. So, this material world is filled with the problems, right? Or dangers full of calamities, right? And what do? We do plans, the temporary plans to get over these things. And we forget the long-term plan of going back to Godhead. So in this purport, Srila Prabhupada is saying, make long-term plans, make the plans that last, not the plans that are like temporary and you have to go run for something else again, right? So Krishna is saying, you know, so in this purport, Prabhupada is saying, make long-term plans and don't, you know, worry about these calamities that come. They're like kind of dreams. They are like, you know, temporary, you know, but, you know, think about the long-term things. So basically, why is Kunti Maharani saying that, you know, bring the calamities back? You know, people typically misunderstand this sloka a lot because, you know, people kind of contemplate, why would I want calamities to remember Krishna? The inner meaning of the sloka is not that, you know, bring back more and more calamities. The inner meaning of the sloka is Kunti wants Krishna back, no matter what, whether it is, you know, positive or negative kind of connotation. Kunti wants Krishna to be with them all the time. Similarly, we should understand this. Like the simple example of that is, say for example, I have a neighbor and I have a tiff with him and I had a fight with him, and somehow my son wants to go and talk to him and get something from the neighbor. I would say, even if I die, even if I, like if you go, I'll drink poison, like that, right? We'll say it because you don't want him to go there because you already have a tiff with him. It doesn't mean that you really do that. It's just you just want to say that, don't go to him because I had a fight with him, and you don't talk to him for now, right? It's like saying that it's a categorical statement saying that don't do that, but the actual point here is that, Kunti Devi wants Krishna with him all the time. Similarly, we should always think that Krishna should be there with us in both calamities and stronger times, right? And then after this sloka, she asked for a boon, because like Kunti Maharani prays obeisances, and Lord Krishna is a little bit embarrassed, saying that aunt, you are my aunt and you are elder to me. Why are you paying obeisances to me? I should pay obeisances to you. But Kunti Maharani says, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I know that, whether anybody else knows here or not, and I'm doing that. And Krishna, becomes very happy and asks for a boon. And she says, remove all my attachments, remove all the attachments. And Krishna is a little bit, saying that, why do you want to do that? You have so much nice family here. Why don't you stay with them for some more time? Because you have been into so much troubles. But Kunti Maharani insists that, please remove all my attachments and let me come back to you. So the fundamental understanding of the whole of the slokas that is, looked at so far is, in happiness or distress, in any case, may I always remember Krishna. May I always remember Krishna, right? Always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. In all situations, right? Krishna is, the three things that we should always remember when calamities, problems happen, or troubles happen is three things. One important thing is Krishna is always in control, always. He has the full control of the situation. You should never have a doubt, because of some, sometimes people think, yeah, Krishna might have started doing something. Maybe in the middle, he might have lost control. That's why we are in the situation. No, Krishna has always full control of the situation. Second thing, he never makes mistakes. Whatever is the thing that is happening in your life, in your world, it is a pre-planned thing for, long term. When Krishna has a proper plan for you, it's never a mistake. And third thing, he is the best of what he does. He is the best. He knows in and out of everything, the whole situation. And he thinks with his heart, and he always thinks and always does the best for you, right? He knows what is the good for you, right? So like that, you should always think about, those kind of situations and remember Krishna. And all these calamities are temporary, and the big plans of Krishna for you to, really help in your Krishna consciousness. So, it's almost 8:38 now. Similarly, there are other slokas that continue in the same mood by Kunti Maharani. But this is the essence of the whole the chapter, and is the correct, apt, topic for today. Thank you very much for listening to me so far. If you have any questions, I might try to understand. I might try to answer them.
You have explained it thoroughly and elaborately, Prabhu. There are no questions.
Correct. Thank you very much. Nice, Prabhu. Thank you very much. Lilananda Prabhu, I'm done, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat, Prabhuji. Yeah, any reflections, Prabhuji and Matajis? It doesn't have to be a question. Any comments on what you've heard?
Praveen, you have explained so nicely. We all read this Bhagavad Gita before us, but so nicely.
Mataji, your audio is breaking, Mataji.
Like,
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Mataji, I think voice was breaking, but the session, this slokas, I think it's very difficult to digest. I believe when someone says that give me more problems and calamities such that I can remember. It might be very not welcoming for the general public. And the examples what you quoted was very apt.
Yes, Prabhuji, this is the one of the most skipped sloka. What I heard from Amrit Prabhu is like people when they read this chapter, not able to skip this sloka, it seems, because it's very, as you said, it's very undigestible. But the inner meaning of the sloka is no matter what, let me always remember Krishna, and that's what Kunti Maharani also wants. And whatever happens, let me take it as a providence and think that is Krishna's plan. And one of the questions that is asked in that same session is, Prabhuji, the same question I always have is how do you approach people who are not in Krishna consciousness, who are in trouble, who are really going through a calamity or a problem or tragedy, and how do you really help them? And the answer we always hear is the same thing, and it's very profound, which is like you should never impart any of this knowledge to them if they are not in Krishna consciousness. And first thing is you should be very empathetic and sympathetic and understand their problem. Listen, Amarendra Prabhu says, he, a lot of people come to him and then they start talking like almost 1 hour, a lot of their problems, and all he does is just listen, almost 1 hour. And then they say, thank you, Prabhuji, for listening. Now I understand what I have to do, and they leave, even without him saying a single word. So similarly, the way to approach to this problem or when we go is just listen, and then be an ear to them, be a shoulder to them, and not give any of this knowledge or any of the philosophy, if they're not Krishna conscious. But if they are, and then if they're not, slowly you can help them be Krishna conscious afterwards and help them understand the higher purpose of life and why things happen to them, right? That's what he says. So yes, as you said, understanding this sloka without having the background understanding of the whole philosophy is very difficult to do.
Yes, Prabhu. Well said, Prabhu. Actually, listening makes most of the things for the people who are not Krishna consciousness.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, you are right, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Vidananda Pranam.
ప్రభు ఒక క్వశ్చన్ ఉంది ప్రభు.
చెప్పండి ప్రభు.
ఇప్పుడు మనకి భక్తి మార్గ తెలుగులో అడగచ్చా ప్రభు?
ప్రభు చేస్తారు.
ఇప్పుడు భక్తి మార్గం అంటే గురించి చెప్పారు కదా, అంటే 2 విధాలు మీరు అంటే మనల్ని ఉద్ధరించుకోవడం అనేది ముఖ్యమా, లేదంటే మీరు వేరే వాళ్ళందరినీ కూడా ఆ మార్గంలోకి తీసుకురావాలి అనేది 2 ఉన్నాయి మనకి. చాలా మంది మనకి ఎగ్జాల్టెడ్ డివోటీస్ ఉన్నారు. ఇప్పుడు మీరు చెప్పారు అమరేంద్ర ప్రభు, రాధన్న, మన రాధేశ్యామ్ ప్రభు, వీళ్ళందరూ ఏంటంటే దే ఆర్ టేకింగ్ లాట్ ఆఫ్ పీపుల్, అందరినీ తీసుకొస్తున్నారు. కానీ యాజ్ ఎ నియోఫైట్ డివోటీగా ముందు నా అనర్థాలు చాలా ఉన్నాయి. నా అనర్థాలు నేను ముందు మనం రెక్టిఫై చేసుకొని మన చాంటింగ్ ద్వారా అది ప్రయారిటీ పెట్టుకోవాలా, లేదు నేను ఎలా ఉన్నా పర్వాలేదు, ఐ వాంట్ టు ప్రీచ్ అంటే ఏది, వాట్ ఈస్ ద బెస్ట్ వే? అంటే మన ఓన్ ఫస్ట్ మన అనర్థాలని కరెక్ట్ చేసుకోవడం అనేది ముఖ్యమా, లేదంటే మనం అందరినీ తీసుకొని ఆ ప్రచారం మనకు తెలిసిన జ్ఞానాన్ని అందరికీ పంచుకుంటూ వెళ్ళడం అనేది ముఖ్యమా?
Yes, wonderful question, Prabhuji. So I'll repeat everybody this question in English also, so that like everybody understands. Prabhuji is asking, what is priority? Whether to help yourselves in the Krishna consciousness and the path, or try to help others to become Krishna consciousness. Prabhuji, Srila Prabhupada is very, 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 clear on this, Prabhuji. He says, first you have to help yourselves. The perfect example is aeroplane, Prabhuji. In the aeroplane, when there is a trouble, what do they say is first put the mask to yourself and give the mask to your daughter or whoever is sitting next to you. So help, first priority is uddhara yourself, right? You have to first take care of yourself. You take care of your anardhas, you be in the bhakti path, you understand what you have to do, and then go in the path. And then once you then when to do the preaching or whatever other things, probably you should talk to your Siksha Guru or Diksha Guru and then start that journey. But the foremost important thing is first start with yourself, because without that you cannot start the journey. But that said, you don't need to wait for like complete perfection in all those things to start preaching also, because also is a missionary and preaching institution. you can have the discussion with your Shiksha Guru, and when I can start preaching. And he's the best judge for you, and when you can do that, right? There is always, that judgment you should talk to your Shiksha Guru. But fundamental thing is first start with yourself. Unless until you are in the path and you are completely convinced, because that's the first thing that everybody should introspect and contemplate is, am I convinced of this path? Am I completely convinced of this path? Am I completely convinced that Sri Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead? I'm with him all the time. He's the only savior and nobody else. And you should show that in your actions, in your behavior, in your at home, your attire, your altar, everything should show that. And once you have that, then you slowly start the Navavida Bhakti, as Srila Prabhupada said in that previous sloka, right? You will start Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, all those things, small things. And then slowly you will start in your journey. And once in your journey or in some place, then you can start talking to your Shiksha Guru or Diksha Guru about, what is my, service, like, what are other services that I can do? Like, preaching is one service, but there are so many services you can do, and should definitely take, from your, take suggestions from your gurus. Lilananda Prabhu, please, add or correct if I said anything.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, you and Mataji, so such a nice topic, such a perfect examples, and perfect example you yourself are sitting together and reading Bhagavatam, right? So because you asked, I'm just adding a few things, Prabhuji, is that Satyadev Prabhu is asking whether I should share with others. Well, problem is when gulab jamun is too sweet and you really liked it and your tummy is filled, you have to give it to others, right? His Holiness Gaur Govind Maharaj, one of the great sannyasis in our society, told that it's just like milk boiling. When the milk boils, it goes out. So when your bhakti boils, right, and keeps coming up and up, it cannot stay in that container. It just flows out. And that when it flows out is preaching, right? If you're trying to preach when it is not flowing out, then you cannot give anything. But Prabhupada's biggest problem, Srila Prabhupada's biggest problem was he could not keep himself in India, because it was flowing out. He can't retain it, right? That is the mood of the acharyas. So why are we preaching? Is it flowing out for us? Well, it is. There's no wonder it is flowing out. But our rate of flowing out is lesser than the great acharyas. But we are following the same footsteps. When we are so happy, when we are so convinced, why will we not give it to anybody? Right? It's a natural tendency that when you make something good, you see something good, you want to share it with others, and when you see others happy with it, your happiness doubles, right? And yes, so we have to deliver ourselves, and we should at least play a role in supporting others who are delivering others, or supporting or encourage yourself to do it, right? Come out of your comfort zone and do it. And when you do it, things fall into place. Like in our, even in our marriage, in Vedic culture, in our marriages, the daughter, the mother of the daughter, the bride, she tells her that you go there, you serve them, and when you serve them, you'll receive love, and then you will be the person who will be responsible for all the loving relationships in that house. But if you go there and try to demand love, you will not only destroy your life, you will also destroy their life, right? So we have to do it. We have to at least endeavor for it, and then result is for sure, because Krishna is not going to keep quiet, he'll reciprocate. So we have to start preaching, we have to start sharing, no matter we feel whether we are qualified or not. If we are thinking that we'll become perfect, all the anarthas will go out, then I think we are underestimating the power of Maya. We are not taking shelter of Krishna. We have to jump into it. We have to start sharing. At least we can share 16 syllables. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. That much we can share, right? And so we have to share at least that much. That's our responsibility. In fact, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Swayam Krishna, when he came 500 years back, he told every person who has taken birth in this tract of Bharatvarsha has to take this message out to the entire world. So we have a responsibility to do that, right? Yeah, and one more thing is, when you love somebody, you automatically start remembering that person. You automatically start serving that person, even if that person is giving trouble, right? Perfect example is a mother. Sometimes children, when they grow up, when they come to their teens, they give a lot of trouble, but still, the mother wants them home. So I'll cook for you, don't worry, come home. I will take care of you, even if it is trouble, right? So the spirit of Kunti Maharani is just like that mother, and she knows Krishna is in control of everything, but still Krishna's presence is more important. And Krishna being there, like very nicely you told Prabhuji today that how she desired Krishna, whether in good or bad, right? It doesn't matter whether it's good or bad. This prayer should not be understood that only when it is bad or we are asking for bad. We're not asking for bad, we're not asking for good, we are asking for Krishna. That was very nicely, that's my takeaway today from your lecture, that I should ask for Krishna irrespective of whether it is good or bad. Whatever comes along, that's okay. And it's a very important topic that you chose today to discuss about Kunti Maharani prayers. In fact, a lot of people talk about who is the greatest devotee in Bhagavatam. Who is I mean, Bhagavatam is a book of love letters, right, written by all devotees to their beloved Krishna, right? So who does it start with? The first Bhagavatam starts with Kunti's prayers. Kunti is undoubtedly the greatest lover of Krishna, right? Among all. So that's amazing, that she is saying that give me trouble so I can see you, so I can see you always. We are already in trouble, right? So we have to ask for Krishna all the time. In fact, not once in a while. We have to ask for Krishna all the time. And we will ask for Krishna all the time when we are surrounded by devotees who are asking for Krishna all the time. And this Saturday morning is just another time to remind ourselves what is important in life. Um, yeah, and I'm actually overwhelmed with your class, Prabhuji. I'm so happy, uh, so grateful that you prepared and presented.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
So, any question? And Mata, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, she wants to say something.
Yeah, Prabhuji. Prabhu,
Yes, Mataji. Yes, Mataji.
yes, I face sometimes problem with the people who started arguing with me when somebody is suffering from corona. So I just phone and told them that just tell nothing, just chant as a Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. But they started arguing with me, saying that Hare Krishna, Krishna will come and save us, something like that. I'm trying to convince them that just chant for some time, you'll feel good. Then why not you come and chant with us? Why not you come and teach us how to chant? Because they are suffering from corona, so I cannot go. So when I tell them how to convince them, that full family is suffered by corona now. So how to convince them to at least to chant? Can you just suggest me?
Mataji, the end of the lecture, there was a bit that Praveen was talking about, right? When actually people go through trouble and they are not Krishna conscious, right? Giving them any philosophy or giving them advice based on the spiritual activities may not help, Mataji. So you just you can call them, you can just listen to them, how they are dealing with it, how they are going through, and tell them something that they can follow, and you can chant for them, Mataji. It is quite an impossible task to immediately make someone chant, Mataji. So you chant for them, you pray to Krishna that he, shows that and makes them get that faith in their hearts, because he is there. We cannot go to people with corona, but Krishna is there with everyone, with or without corona. So you pray to him that you are already there in their hearts and they don't know. Try to reveal yourself to them and give them a little bit of a love for you. And hopefully Krishna will listen to you, Mataji, because you are praying with faith. He will listen to people who pray with faith. Prabhuji, you want to add, Prabhuji?
No, very nicely put, Mataji. So, who is this Mataji who asked the question? Sheetal Mataji.
Sheila
right?
Mataji.
Sheila Mataji, yes. So, Sheila Mataji, you should understand that when any troubled person comes in front of us, that means it's not that he has come in front of you, that we have been put in front of them by Krishna, right? So, if you are seeing somebody in trouble, that means Krishna wants us to serve them. That should first come to our mind. And Krishna does not only come in the form of holy name. We don't have to tell them that, you start chanting Hare Krishna. If they're not comfortable, you can start chanting Hare Krishna and you can start praying for them and just tell them that, we are all there for you. Indirectly, you're actually presenting Krishna by your service in front of them. So Krishna comes into our life in the form of devotees. Before even he comes as holy name, he comes as devotees. So we are representing Krishna. In fact, everybody is representing Krishna in this world to serve each other. And when we serve each other, then Krishna is convinced and Krishna is very happy. And 1 second. Yeah. So Krishna is very happy, when we serve others, and automatically Krishna will start revealing. So most of the time today, people have inhibition that, oh, I'm being pulled into something, I'm being converted, I'm being told something that they'll ask for commitment like that. Actually, when people are in trouble, instead of in a mood of taking something, we should be in a mood of giving something. So when we go to them, just speak everything about giving. Tell them here is Ganga Jal. Tell them here are the chanting beads. Tell them here is Krishna's photo. Tell them here is the mantra. And tell them here is what it is. We wish you take it, but I'm going to do it for you anyways. Just give it to them and say that every day I'm chanting. One round I'll chant for you, so your health becomes better. I'll pray to Krishna and constantly inquire from them how they are doing. And Mataji, this one act of giving to them without expecting anything in reciprocation, even if they are not chanting, will melt their hearts, and eventually Krishna will start speaking to them in a heart that is humble, in a heart that is grateful. Krishna resides. So when they become grateful to your act, automatically Krishna starts reciprocating with them, right? So that's the least we can do. Philosophy we should speak depending on a relationship with them and how much they're ready to hear from us. And in that situation, better not to speak philosophy. Most of the time it's a hug and it's a warmth, that you give to a person when he's in trouble, right? That is actually the implementation of philosophy, right? So instead of talking philosophy, why don't we just implement it by being compassionate and caring for people who come to us? That's my small addition.
Yeah, but the thing is, when they are better after some time, and then that's a good state of mind for them to start thinking. Typically, when a materialistic person is in trouble or not in a stable state, it's not the right time to preach philosophy or Krishna consciousness, because they won't be able to concentrate. But once you do, when you give whatever you have to give, once they are in stable state, when they are out of that problem, then even they'll remember and start doing it. And then once you have that, it will go. The philosophy will go, and then they will be able to help themselves at the time again next time when they have problems.
Probably one more addition, Prabhu, if you allow me.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah,
I have assured them.
Yeah, Mataji, I think we can cook wonderful prasadam and share it to them or send them the prasadam. That will also help.
You can never go wrong with prasadam.
Yeah.
Anyhow, I have assured them Krishna will help them and they will all full family will get cured. I'm just waiting for that blessing from Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes.
Yes. So you still I think you're still about to tell something, Mataji, and
Yeah.
Prabhuji, it was a short thing. Probably I should conclude first. So, all this whole chapter, Kunti's prayers, reminded or made me think about miseries and sufferings. And miseries and sufferings, I think, are not new to anyone. All of us have suffered something, have gone through some kind of a misery or the other. Miseries in themselves are not anything new. But in one of the class just recently, one of the paid classes that Praveen was taking, I was hearing His Grace Chaitanya Charan Prabhuji was telling it's not the misery, but the lack of meaning in that misery that bewilders people. Like, for example, all the Matajis here, all of us who have given birth to children, we know how physically painful it is to give birth. I mean, I don't think we can ever explain how much it is painful. It is like Praveen was asking after my first child, how was it? How much did it pain? How much did it pain? And I was telling him, it is like somebody shot me and tried to stab a knife in my stomach and cut me open at the same time. It was like that. Even that wouldn't make justice, right? But there was meaning in that pain and that suffering. So it was okay to go through, and that is not something we again go through it again and again. We go for the second child, third child, and what's not. So Prabhuji was saying, Chaitanya Prabhuji was saying, lack of meaning in the suffering is what people get bothered by, get distressed about, and that's what pulls them down. And the biggest gift of Krishna consciousness is it helps us find meaning even in the worst of the miseries. Nobody wants to have miseries, right? But say it were to happen, only people who will find meaning are the people who have little or medium or lots of faith in Krishna. And that's the biggest strength and biggest gift of Krishna consciousness. And looking at the condition that we are in, I was thinking, Prabhuji, how many ever times we read this padam padam yat vipadam and dukhalayam ashashvatam, all these things, sometimes it doesn't go in the head. You also keep saying, Lilananda Prabhuji keeps giving the example of an ICU. Just because there is a soft bed, air condition, and a beautiful nurse, if somebody thinks that I want to be here forever, that person is a fool, right? ICU is not a place where people want to be forever. But even all these things will not make us realize that we are in ICU. We try to adjust, as Prabhupada is saying, people try to adjust to their calamities. So people try to live with whatever is happening instead of trying to get out of it. That's why Krishna is almost making us live in a jail now. A jail where there are no jail like, iron rods or anything. There is no visible jailer anywhere, but we cannot go out. I have a car, I know driving, I have diesel in my car, I have driving license, but I cannot drive it outside, even if I want to. So Krishna has put us in this jail to sort of drive this point home. I feel that this is an ICU. What better example can he give? This is like that a person trying to get the attention of that attender who is far below in the floor by throwing pelting a stone at him, or Krishna trying to make a bigger sound to get the attention of Yashoda Mai that yes, guests are there, but more than attending to them, you have to get me. Come get me. So because of that, Krishna has made us get locked down. And now if we cannot think, I don't know when will we think, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
So this was my...
Yes. I'm sure with Corona coming, at least now people know the value of oxygen, and and they appreciate what Krishna has given to them in the form of oxygen, which we have been breathing all along without even being grateful. Right? Let's all take a deep breath. So that is so precious, right? And people couldn't take that. So many people died, unfortunately, outside the hospitals. Whatever the circumstances where we share the pain of those families. But now we know everything that is given by Krishna is so precious, but we're not thanking him enough. So bhakti is about thanking Krishna. Bhakti is about remembering who gave us everything. and bhakti is about remembering that we should ultimately go back to him. So, this whole life is a preparation, and death is examination, like Prabhupada always repeated. So wonderful Srimad Bhagavatam class, Prabhuji, and I wish the same saga of Srimad Bhagavatams continues week after week. Every Saturday morning we get to meet each other. Okay, by the way, do you all realize, Prabhuji, everybody on this call, that how much we all are fortunate that we are getting an opportunity to share our heart and hear people sharing their heart, which is the most important thing today. People are in complete depression because there is nobody to share heart with. There is no Zoom call like this where people are talking about Corona and the way to solve the problem of Corona internally. Externally, we are hearing so much in news channels, but internally, how do you solve it? Who is talking to anybody? Who is giving that emotional support? I think we are very fortunate to be in the satsanga of very, devoted people who are giving us the faith to go over this phase, and also the support and love to be in this phase, right? So this is where Krishna is coming in the form of satsang. If you want to see Krishna, he is there in the Zoom call right now, and he is inspiring us to say things on his behalf, which is going to give us the solace and which is going to prepare us for more troubles, but ultimately to come out of the final trouble of getting out of this material world. So, yes, I feel very fortunate that in the last decade or so, I am always surrounded by devotees and always taken care. And so can you be by being regular to these classes, by being regular to chanting, and by serving devotees. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prabhuji and Mataji. Hari Bol. Let us thank Praveen Prabhu and Suma Mataji three loud. Hari Bol.
Hari Bol. Hari Bol.
Thank you very much. Jai.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Thank you very much.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Prabhupada ki jai.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandat Pranam.
Shubha Kumari
Prabhuji, I have a small request, Prabhuji. Yesterday, our relatives expired actually.
Oh.
He is young, he is having 1 year old daughter. And last week, his brother had expired last Thursday, Prabhuji. No mail is there. Last week, my cousin has done his ritual, elder brother's ritual. Now how she will manage, how she will do. Uske husband ka wo kaisa karegi? Yesterday I was not able to sleep, Prabhuji. How she is alone, Prabhuji, there. Please pray for them, for family. 3 ladies are there with 2 kids, 1.5 year old and 1 year old, Prabhuji.
Oh, Krishna Mataji, so
They are in Bangalore, Prabhuji. All the relatives are in Hyderabad.
Mataji, it's a very painful situation. None of us have gone through it. Can't even imagine what it means.
Google Doc kar change kar do.
Yeah, such a young age. But Mataji, one thing you told, she is alone. She is not. Krishna is with her. I am sure out of this phase, Krishna has some plan for her. We just have to see it revealing. Till then, we all should stay with her and give her the support and pray for her. Thank you for letting us know, Mataji. I'll immediately do one round for her and her family, both the ladies and those children. But be rest assured, Mataji, for all of us, there is a plan. In this world that Krishna has created, wherever there is a there is a urge, there is a fulfillment. Wherever there is a disease, there is a cure, and wherever there is sorrow, there is compassion and prayers. So we will pray for them.
Yesterday, वो रात में प्रभुजी 9:45 को दिखाया कि बीपी और वो बीपी लो है पर ऑक्सीजन लेवल 60 आया. In 1 hour total it's changed, प्रभुजी. पूरा ही change हो गया था.
Yeah.
और she went home and she got the news that he is no more, Prabhuji.
Krishna. Mataji, I don't know what variant of corona they got, but if they need any oxygen, at home, I have the oxygen concentrator available at home. I can deliver it to them.
They stays in Bangalore, Prabhuji.
Oh, they stayed Bangalore. Okay. Hare Krishna.
And nobody is with her, Prabhuji. Relatives, nobody. She is alone. Last week, उनके brother-in-law का इन्हीं पूरा rituals की, Prabhuji. 1 week भी नहीं हुआ. अभी इसके husband के. How she will do? No words, Prabhuji. How she is She just married 3 years, Prabhuji. 3 years हो गया उनका शादी होके, 1 year old girl, Prabhuji.
Krishna. Her parents are here, Mataji, in Hyderabad?
Last year his उसके father गुजर गए, Prabhuji. Mother है और उसके 3 sisters है. First sister को COVID आके गया. All are here only, Prabhuji, in Hyderabad. After 12 years, her sister is pregnant, Prabhuji. So she don't know anything. And for another sister is just now she came from COVID, Prabhuji. So nobody is there to help her. We don't know how she is managing. Don't have words, Prabhuji. Yesterday I am seeing full रात में पूरा इसका body ऐसा दिख रहा है. How she? No, Prabhuji, I cannot tell you in words, Prabhuji. Please pray for her, Prabhuji, so that she can come. Krishna means faith should be there, Prabhuji. We are praying. We are praying, Prabhuji, but I don't know how she is managed.
Krishna. We'll all pray
I
for her.
request all devotees, Prabhuji, to pray.
We all will pray. We all will pray.
Definitely pray,
All
Mataji.
definitely pray, Mataji. All definitely.
Definitely pray, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
I'm so sorry to know, Mataji. The story itself is so touching, and how she's managing. We'll pray for her, Mataji. Be rest assured. Thank you for giving the service of praying for her. We will pray for her, definitely. Thank you, Mataji. Take care, Mataji. Please be in touch with her. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavат.